They're not
done the work.
trespassers. Bottom line, they're not
Okay,
trespassers. They're
fine.
going to be entitled.
We will dismiss this case. We'll send
Case
him a
is
file.
dismissed. Court lacks subject matter jurisdiction. Thank you. And then Hamptons of Clover Lane versus Cade versus Jackson and Pines of Clover Lane versus Jackson. Those matters are dismissed on plaintiff's motion without prejudice.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good day.
You do the same. James Husa versus Stanley Zarwicki.
J. James Hasanaw, Your Honor.
And I have Christina, but I don't know. I don't have a last name.
There are no attorneys on this case.
There are no attorneys. Are they here?
I am.
Plaintiff is here.
J. James Hasanaw is here, Your Honor.
I am here. Stanley
And the
Zarzik.
property manager is also here.
All right. Who is Christina?
She's my girlfriend. She's out of town.
All right. This is a non-payment. They don't even have type of action on this case. Is this a non-payment or a termination case?
Termination, Your Honor.
Was there a lease?
No, there was not.
Was there a lease?
No, there was not. Mr. Zarlicki was asked to do some work at the 62156 6 Mile. He was given some keys in order to do that work. And he just kept the keys and moved in. So we're looking for a trespassing and termination.
Is that correct, sir?
No.
Well, how did you come into the premises?
The original agreement was that the house didn't have a furnace, hot water tank, and a bunch of other stuff. And the original agreement, which was verbal, was that I installed the furnace, all the duct work, the hot water tank, and do some work here as I'm able to live here. And Mr. Hasanaw knew that that was the original agreement. And then he even, about with the gas, electricity, or he had it in his name.
Okay, how long have you been here? How long have you been there?
Since actually physically staying here since middle of November.
Sir, is that correct?
I don't know exactly when he started staying there, but he was supposed to have done the work by the end of last August. And it hasn't.
Okay, well then how long have you known that they've been in the premises?
Since at least the middle of September or beginning in August, actually.
That staying in the premises?
He started moving in a lot of stuff and
Didn't ask that. How long have you known that they've been staying in the premises?
Since the middle of September of 2023.
And you gave them keys?
In order to go into the building to do the work, yes, I did give them keys.
Yeah, but then you knew they were staying there.
No.
I didn't realize that he had actually was staying there. He was supposed to have been done like by last August, and he didn't finish the work, so I didn't really monitor what was going on there. But a gentleman named Eric was supposed to be having a room there, and he said that Stan had moved in and had moved his dogs and had moved his girlfriend Christina in as well, and that they were living there. And then Stan finally said that he was living there. He told me he wasn't living there, and then he said he finally said that he moved in.
But you gave him keys.
I gave him the keys in order to go into the building.
He's not a trespasser, sir. He's not a trespasser.
Can I interrupt for a second?
You already have.
I'm sorry.
Here's the problem. Unless you're going to be able to establish to me that he's indeed legally a trespasser on the premises, based upon what you told me, he's not a trespasser, he'd be entitled to notice of some type to the premises. So you've got two options here. You can dismiss the action now and then send a notice and refile, or you can go ahead and we can litigate out whether or not he's a trespasser and I'll make a legal ruling on it. Which would you like to do, sir?
Just a second, Your Honor.
I'm here.
Amanda, did
Yeah.
we give him a 7-day? We never gave him a 7 day, right?
No, we didn't.
Okay. You feel he's not gonna qualify as a trespasser, Your Honor?
I've not made a legal ruling. That's why I was asking the questions that I was asking. Doesn't seem to me that he's a trespasser. It seems to me he came into the property under some color of right.
Also, Your Honor, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. What do you want to say?
Also, if I was the actual trespasser, why would Mr. Hasanoff ask me to put the utilities in my name? The electric is in my name, but the gas, they won't put it in my name without a letter from Mr. Hasanoff. Why, if I'm a trespasser, why would I do that? I'm not a slum person. I'm not a bad person. I got a huge heart.
I don't know that anybody's saying that, sir.
Okay.
Did you, sir,
It
you
sounds
have
like
them
we're
put
gonna
the-
have to to
Sir,
serve him.
Sir, did you
Yes,
have
sir.
them put the utilities in their name?
I asked him to do that. He wouldn't do it. And so then I turned off the
So
gas
why,
and I
if they
turned
were
off the electric.
trespassing, sir, if they were trespassing, why would you have them put the utilities in their name?
I didn't. I told him I was gonna turn them off. And so then he went and had the electric put in his name and they wouldn't put the gas in his name.
No.
So why, if somebody's trespassing, why would you do that?
Why would I turn the utilities off so that he
Why
would
would
move
you
out?
even have a discussion about the utilities going into their name? These folks
Because
aren't trespassers.
He used to be a resident in one of my other homes. I had to evict him from there. I gave him a second chance on this home and he hasn't
Sir,
paid. He
They're
hasn't
not
done the work.
trespassers. Bottom line, they're not
Okay,
trespassers. They're
Fine,
going to be entitled.
we will dismiss this case. We'll send
Case
him a
is
file.
dismissed. Court lacks subject matter jurisdiction. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank
We'll
you,
be
sir.
back.
James Somanek versus Travis Ackerman.
Attorney Tom Ellis, appearing on behalf of the plaintiff, Your Honor.
Travis
And
Ackerman.
that's
and Nikki
Ackerman and Meltzer.
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct. You have Travis Ackerman and Nikki Meltzer representing themselves.
Okay, very good. All right. What is the claim in this case? How much is owing, inclusive of cost, Mr. Ellis?
According to our complaint, Your Honor, we asked for $5,743.80, but we are giving him credit for some propane that's in the tank. So he's going to owe approximately $1,150 less.
1150 is
Your Honor, may I ask, this is news to me. This would be news
Okay,
to me.
hold on. Folks, hold on a moment. I need, Mr. Ellis, I need to know what's owing or what plaintiffs are claiming are owing on the account as of today, including court cost.
$4,750 approximately.
That approximate figure again. All
Your
right.
Honor, may I ask a question?
Sure.
We, so on the propane tanks, we have evidence and pictures of the readings and the levels of the tanks and can quantify the sum down to the amount owed based on what Mr. Samanek had paid per gallon. The current levels of the propane as of when we left the property on April 30th were there was just under 60% in one tank. There was just under 70% in another. So the full usage of the propane did not take place. And I do have concerns that the amount of money they're sharing does not quantifiably add up to what would be owed in relation to that per gallon rate.
In addition to the rent that they're asking us to pay,
we've already paid our rent per an agreement with Mr. Samanak for a prorated rate of rent for February, March, and April, as long as we're out by the end of April.
And this was on the basis of a violation of our lease agreement due to non-repair of, and I have evidence to show pictures of a
Okay,
history.
all right, all right. Hold
Yes,
on a
sir.
moment, folks.
Yes, sir.
This is the first
Yes, sir.
hearing, okay? All right, take a breath, all
Yes,
right?
sir.
Because I wasn't there and you're giving me a lot of information, okay?
Yes, sir. Your
So
Honor, it's a lot.
Counsel, as I'm looking at the complaint, there's $3,023.80 for propane.
That is correct, Your Honor, but we'll give him.
So I guess here's what I'm asking. What I'm asking is, what is the rental amount that's due? And then what's due for propane?
$2,420 is owed in rent. And the propane,
2,240
yes, sir.
for rent. Okay. And then so if I were to subtract basically the 4750 approximately that you gave me, the rest of that is propane
Yes, in our complaint,
and court costs.
the court costs were not added in there, I don't think.
All right, fine. Then it's just propane. We'll worry about the court costs later. All right. So
$2,182 is owing for propane.
$2,180 for propane.
Yes.
$1,400 has been paid to Mr. Samanak. I can confirm 500 in January, 500 in March.
Sir.
Yes, sir. I
Sir.
apologize. Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right. What payments have you recently received? Has your client recently received, Mr. Ellis?
Originally, approximately 6 weeks ago, my client agreed to reduce the rent if they pay up the back propane bill. And payments were made of about $1,400. But that did not pay up the total back propane bill. And so the defendants are not entitled to any rent reduction because they didn't follow the agreement.
Your Honor, may I make a statement here? At no point in time was this
Have I
agreement.
been able to stop you? But go ahead.
Sorry, I'm so sorry, Your Honor. At no point in time was this agreement ever predicated on the payment of the propane. It literally, in any communications with Mr. Stamanek, that was not conveyed. I have interactions. His son-in-law, Harvey Proctor, actually came to pick up the money for this prorated rent. And I have text messages showcasing the process of, hey, this individual is going to come over to collect this money.
All right. So folks, let me just ask you this. You're currently out of the property.
Yes, Your Honor, we are, as of April 30th.
Okay. So possession isn't an issue. The issue is how much rent's owed and how much of that is owed for propane.
Correct.
Right?
Yes, yes.
Can I ask, was there a written lease or written agreement regarding the propane?
Yes.
In the lease, it does say that the tenants would need to pay the full balance of the propane by December 31st of the year. And we talked to Mr. Samanak, since we will be leaving in April and not the end of the year, that we would check the propane levels once we left the property and pay him the balance that we used for the propane from January 1st to April 30th.
We also have witnesses. Mr. Samanek has visits to my.
You know what?
Yes, sir.
You can keep talking, but I don't know why it is. I understand her a whole lot better than I understand you.
That's totally fine. I'll let her do a lot of the talking here.
What she said to me makes absolute perfect sense. So, I mean, it makes sense in terms of something that could have happened. I don't know if it did or not, but I get it.
Yes, sir. Yes,
but
sir.
my bigger problem is I don't have, and not was not filed with this. I don't have the written agreement. That is it Meltzer?
Yes,
Meltzer?
Yes.
Meltzer.
I don't have the written agreement that she's referring to.
So it's
That
in
was
our
not filed with the court.
apologies. It's in their original lease agreement that we signed with Mr. Samanak back in
No.
December.
It's okay. It's okay that I don't, I'm just letting the parties know I don't have that. I'm taking your
Understood.
word for what it says, but I don't, I just don't have it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
I'm happy to read that to you if you need to.
Okay. All right. So we're not going to be able to resolve this today. So obviously there's a dispute between the parties as to what this propane bill is. And then let me ask you this, outside of the propane, do you believe that you owe the amount of rent?
No,
No,
sir. Due to the agreement that Mr. Samanak and I and Travis made on the phone in January 19th of 2024, he agreed, since he has violated our lease by allowing multiple people onto our property without our knowledge,
In violation.
and after we have asked not to have that happen in violation to our rental agreement, section 9 of that, I know you don't have it, I apologize,
It's okay.
that technically the only people allowed on our property is the landlord or people doing repairs. It does not state that what we were living on was a working farm and that men will be in and out of our property multiple times a day. That was never disclosed to us. We asked him very kindly multiple times. This has started a month
I'm going to
after we-
stop you. I'm going to stop you there because you're
Yes, sir.
probably have to gonna explain that to me again. But here's what I'm going to do, folks. Possession isn't an issue. It looks, quite frankly, like this is just going to be math. So in terms of setting it up, I'll hear everybody's story. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this for a final settlement conference Tuesday.
May 14th.
For May 14th, 2024, 9 a.m.
Okay.
That proceeding will be in person at the courthouse.
Okay.
Bring all of your paperwork and everything so that I can look at it and I can refer to the provisions. You said something, ma'am? I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. Are we allowed to bring witnesses to this?
Okay, what are they going to be witnesses of?
So his parents are good friends with Mr. Samanak, and he has even stated that we are paid up on our rent. They have text messages between them paying the propane balance of $1,400.
Okay, look. Here's what I'm going to do. You can bring whoever you'd like. Whether or not I'll be able to hear from them at that time, I don't know.
Understood.
But as between the parties, I've got to get I've got to get everybody to agree on what issues we would be litigating. So it may be from this final settlement conference, I will set a trial date at a later time where I'll hear the testimony. All right, but you can bring whoever you'd like. I suggest that you make sure to bring all of the documentation that the parties have regarding everything.
Yes,
Well, not
Absolutely.
everything, but anything relevant.
We have a
May
full.
14th. Pardon?
We have printed copies for you, and we also have an iCloud link if you would like that at any time.
Okay, all right. You can always send it to the court for filing with the court, and then I'll take a look at it at some point. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Judge.
Mr. Ellis, anything else?
Nothing further. Thank you.
All right, we'll see everybody on the 14th. Thank you. Court does call the case of Barnes and Burns versus Tyree Lockett.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Mr. Freeman. It's, I guess, Tyree Lockett and Terry Lockett. Terry Lockett, actually, both of you are here. Can you state your names, please?
Yes, so it's Terry Lockett and Tyree Lockett.
Okay, you guys heard all of your rights?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Friedman, what's the claim in this case?
Total is 1971.18.
1971.18. All right, gentlemen, how are you intending on getting this paid?
I'm on a scholarship here for football, and that's how I've been paying my rent here. It's a monthly scholarship.
Each month? Okay. So are you, Mr. Friedman, okay, I see the 26th service. All right, so you paid for a first hearing or for a judgment if we need to. Gentlemen, so you have a scholarship, so when's the 1971 gonna get paid? Mr. Terry Lockett? Or Iree, I guess.
Terry Lockett. I've already paid the May fee of the 1,200, and I still I've been in communication with Brandon and Wendy, and I still owe $200 from that month of late fees.
All right, but you're talking that's your portion, right?
Yeah, well, both of ours.
You lost me. Are you agreeing that you owe the 1971?
No, I've already brought that down. I've already paid 1,200 of that.
Oh, you don't. When did you pay that? That's what I was asking.
Just 2 days ago, I think.
2 days ago?
Do you think maybe we've got May in there now that didn't take into account?
Yeah. May's already been put in there. That was from last month, April. That's why the court date's been set for this date.
Well, hold it. When you paid the 1,200, you were catching up April.
Yes.
Okay, so May has now clicked in.
Yeah.
So the 1971 is owed. When do you think you can get that paid?
The May's rent?
Well, the whole 1971 paid.
Yeah, when I get my next scholarship check, which is coming soon in the next couple of days.
So you got to help me here. So today's the 3rd. So you're going to get that check next week?
Oh, yes, actually, it's supposed to have already hit. It's just it hasn't hit my account yet. Other players on the team have got theirs today. Actually, mine usually hits like 2 days later.
All right, let me ask you this, young man. Are you gonna be able to have all of this paid by the 10th?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Friedman, I think what I'm going to do is I'll just adjourn it out. I'm going to indicate they're going to defendant to pay the balance. Put it out 1 week. And if they don't have it paid, then I'm just going to grant a judgment.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. So I'll adjourn this matter to May 10th. What time?
Yeah.
May 10th, 2024, 2 p.m. All right. And then hopefully you'll have everything paid and the matter be dismissed. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Court does call the case Burns and Burns versus Christine Brewer.
That was written for the plaintiff.
Brewer?
Yes.
Okay, there you are. What's the claim in this case, Mr. Freeman?
This is 2530 total.
2,530?
Yes, sir.
All right. Hey, Ms. Brewer, what do you have to say about that?
I can say that this has been a really, really hard last year for me, but I can pay 1,100 or 1,000 at least by Monday.
Okay.
And I am also in the presence, like I am working with I have an SCR that I already put in, SCR for the state. And I have help from Hawk that I have an appointment that's on the 15th.
Okay. So, gotcha. All right. So how many people are in your household?
Just me.
Okay. So the best that's going to happen with an SCR is about $410. That's all they're going to get potentially paid on that. And at that point, you're still going to be about another 1,000 short with your payment on Monday.
Yes, I know that I can pay. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm working.
When did you put the application in for
I put
your
it
SCR?
in, not last Monday, I believe the Monday before.
Okay, so she's actually entitled to, you got to file the form to let us know that you applied for your SCR. They haven't given you an answer yet?
No.
All right, well, she's entitled to the first day, so this gets kicked out to the 17th. She's got to pay the 1,000 by Monday the 6th.
Yes,
okay.
I can do that. Yes.
And then I'll adjourn this matter out. When's your appointment with Hawk?
On the 15th.
Okay, so this may actually work. I'll adjourn this matter to May 17th, 2024, at 3 p.m.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, get the 1,000 in and let us know what Hawk says when we get
And
there.
do I pay the 1,000 to Barnes and Barnes or to you?
Pay that directly to the landlord.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Arbor Knoll versus Jordan Sumter and Dacia Snodgrass.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Present.
For the record, Daniel Landman, P35797 on behalf of Arbor Knoll. I see Jordan Sumter is present.
Yes.
All right. And what's the claim in this case, including costs?
Your Honor, inclusive of costs, the total due is $1,855.21.
And Mr. Sumter, how are you guys going to get that paid?
Okay. I've been through this a couple times before with you, Judge. I work at the post office, and I'm not sure if you remember, but sometimes my job shorts my checks, and I'm not sure if I'm able to share my screen, but they had to put in a grievance form for the rest of my money, which they shorted my check over $1,000. And that was just for this time. They still owe me about $3,000 in back pay. I've reached out to lawyers and the Department of Labor. I'm really just, I'm really put in a bind right now because of, my employment. They're not giving me all of my funds. So I'm not really sure what to do at this moment. If there's any advice that you could possibly give me where I could, get some help or anything like that.
Have you, I don't know where their funding is. Have you contacted Hawk?
No, I have not contacted Hawk. I tried that before when I had this situation, and they stated that I make too much money.
You make too much
to get
money.
that assistance. Yes, sir. So it's really just me playing a waiting game for me to get my funds. But they did put in a grievance form for $1,000 check that is supposed to be present on next Friday.
But
on top of my pay.
On when?
Next Friday.
So on the 10th, you'll have $1,000 to put toward this?
Yes.
All right. So here's what we'll do. Pay $1,000 by the 10th.
Okay.
Then I'm going to adjourn this out 1 week. All right, but you got to have a plan for the rest of that balance.
Yes, sir. I'm just, like I said, I'm just caught in a bind right now because my job, they're not really working with me for me to get my funds. And when I contacted the Department of Labor, I couldn't really get any help from them, and no lawyers or any help or anything of that nature. Like I said, I'm pretty much in the bind of $4,000 with my job right now that they owe me in back pay.
Okay. Well, if you get the 1,000 in, then maybe something can be worked out to try to get you clear for May. Okay. But I'm going to put it out to the 10th. You got to make sure to get that to them. That'd be May 10th.
I definitely will. I definitely will.
What time?
Okay.
Okay, that'd be May 10th at 12 p.m. You got to get that $1,000 to the landlord
Yes, sir.
before the hearing, so that
Yes, sir.
they know.
I'll have it in at 8:30 in the morning. Yes, sir.
Fantastic. All right.
Thank you. You have a good one.
All right. Thank you. Evergreen versus Janice James.
Carissa Gazari appearing for plaintiff.
Janice James, not checked in. You may proceed.
Thank you. The rent to retain possession is $2,282.75. Court costs of $172 for a total redemption of $2,454.75. Plaintiff is requesting entry of a default judgment for possession with a writ to issue after 10 days if the total amount remains unpaid.
Judgment to the plaintiff by default. Default for possession, redemption amount, any amount requested, writ issued 10 days. And then have Evergreen versus White, Evergreen versus Kendricks Haynes, Evergreen versus Helm versus Rosso versus Matthews. Those matters are dismissed on the plaintiff's motion without prejudice. They are not checked in. You may proceed.
Thank you. The rent to retain possession is $2,478.33. Court costs of $212 for a total redemption of $2,690.33. Plaintiff is requesting entry of a default judgment for possession with a writ to issue after 10 days if the total amount remains unpaid.
Judgment to the plaintiff, that's by default for possession, redemption amount, any amount requested with a writ to issue 10 days. Glencoe Hills versus Marcus Laguerre.
Carissa Gazari appearing for plaintiff.
Here, Your Honor.
I know, Marcus, I knew was going to be here. Mr. Laguerre, how are you?
I'm good, sir. How you doing?
All right. What's the claim in this case?
The outstanding balance is $2,377.36, which includes $171 in court costs.
Yes, where are you? How are you going to get this paid?
So I'm still working. I'm currently working right now. I should have it paid up really by the 15th. So if I can get like a 2-week adjournment, or till the 17th or what have you, by the 15th, I should be able to just clear it.
How much can you pay in the next week?
In the next week, I just paid what I could pay yesterday. I might be able to scrounge up another 300.
What did you pay yesterday?
I paid 700 toward the balance. It was a little higher than what it is now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did you have that $700 payment, Ms. Gazare?
I have a payment on April 29th of $707.
Oh, a few days.
Is that the payment you're talking?
That's the one I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. All right. Marcus, you're going to have everything paid. If I give you to the 17th, you're going to have everything paid?
Yes, sir. If you give me to the 17th, I know I can make that happen.
Over the objection of plaintiff, I'm going to give him to the 17th because he knows what'll happen if he doesn't have it paid.
Man, I already know.
Right? You know how I am, right?
I've run the numbers, sir. I'm ready to go.
Okay. May 17th, 2024. What time? At 12 p.m.
Okay.
Marcus, you better have that money. Otherwise, Mr. Gazari is going to be yelling at me.
Thank you.
You hear me?
I hear you, sir.
Yeah, all right. Take care. Have a good weekend. Glencoe Hills versus April Allen.
Carissa Gazari appearing for plaintiff.
April Allen present.
Hello.
Hello.
All right. What's the claim in this case?
Your Honor, the outstanding balance is $873.85, which includes $171 in court costs.
All right. And ma'am, how are you going to get that paid?
So I was trying to pay May rent over yesterday, all day yesterday. I don't know what's going on with the app, but it would not accept my card. So that's the 206. Yeah, the 206 for May. As for April, I put in a SER through the Department of Health and Human Services. And so she was calling me yesterday to process it. So they should have, I don't know, something, a decision of whatnot.
How many people are in your house?
Me and my husband.
So that's 2. So that's going to be about $520 if they approve it. All right. But you're saying, Ms. Gazari, can she not make a partial payment? Is that the deal? Or
I think she can.
when I went on the rent cafe to pay for May rent, because that $800 includes May's rent. And so when I went on there to pay May's rent, it would not accept it. Like I had deleted my card, put my husband's card on there. It wouldn't accept his card at all. And so that's the issue that I'm having. Also, I mean, for as far as April, it's fine, but as far as May, like they probably added $100 late fee, and in actuality, it's supposed to be a $50 late fee first, and then $100 late fee or
Okay,
whatever.
we'll get all that straight, but you say
Right.
you have 206 to pay?
Yes.
All right, what I'm gonna indicate is you're to pay $206. You're to get that paid by the 9th
Okay.
of May. And then hopefully, and you need to file the form regarding that you've applied for assistance.
Okay. What form is that I would fill
All
out?
right, if you look in the chat, we have a link in the chat. There is also, if you know how to, is our QR code up?
Yes, sir.
There's a QR code that's on the screen. If you know how to use a QR code, that QR code will bring you right to the form that you need to submit to the court.
Okay.
So 2 ways you can get it. You can get it in the chat. You'll see a link in there. Or if you know how to use a QR code, just get that right off of our screen.
Okay. Is that under?
I'll adjourn this to May 10th, 2024 at 3 p.m.
Okay.
What were you going to say, ma'am?
I was asking, is that the link that's under for the rental assistance?
Yeah. Is that the one? That's the one.
Okay. All right, I'll do
Okay.
it.
And that's the form you need to get with all that information. You need to get that to the court. It needs to be filed by next Wednesday, but file it right away.
Okay, thank you.
There's also so you can do it online. There's the website or the email that you can send it right to the court.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Court calls case Glencoe Hills versus Zaria Fisher.
Carissa Gazari appearing for plaintiff.
I'm here.
Okay, there's Miss Fisher. All right. How much is owing on this case?
$2,700.69, which includes $171 in court costs.
All right, Miss Fisher, how are you intending on getting that paid?
Well, I did file with the SCR. I did lose my job, so I'm no longer working. So I will send the form to you guys, but I did apply for SCR.
Okay, but is it just you in the household?
It is just me.
Okay, so that an SCR is only going to net you about $410.
Okay.
So then the question becomes, how are you going to get the rest of this paid, or what's your intent?
Well, I do have a job interview on Monday, so hopefully I can start working pretty soon here.
Okay. You probably need to call Hawk. Did you see the presentation at the beginning of the docket?
I did.
All right, that number 961-1999.
Okay.
I'm not sure it can help you out, but you'll probably need to call them. So you need to get the form in that you filed for the SCR, which I don't currently have. So you'll have to file that, call Hawk, and I'll adjourn you out 1 week, and let's see where you are on this and what, if anything, can be worked out. All right,
Okay.
but you're going to have Glencoe Hills versus Devin Allen
Carissa Gazari appearing for plaintiff.
and Danielle Allen.
Yes, I'm here.
All right, Mr. Allen. Is Danielle here?
She's at work right now.
All right. Mr. Gazari, what is the claim?
$2,409.23, which includes $212 in court costs.
All right, sir, how are you going to get this paid?
I can have it all paid off by the 17th.
All right, can you pay anything next week?
Yes, I can pay $800 by Friday of next week.
800 by Friday?
Yes.
And then you think you can have the balance by the 17th?
Yes.
All right. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to adjourn you out 1 week, make sure that $800 payment comes in, and then we'll take a look at it.
Okay, thank you.
May 10th, 2024 at 3 p.m.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Sile Farms versus Antoinette Bailey.
Good morning, Your Honor. Rachel Dornbush, Pellets Law, on behalf of the plaintiff.
Good morning. Antoinette Bailey.
Oh, actually, Judge, I think it's just Antoine. Is there an extra?
Antoine? Yes, it is Antoine. I'm sorry. Antoine Bailey. They are not here. You did pay for second service. You want to take a default? Okay. Do you solemnly swear or affirm testimony you're about to give will be truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. For the record, Your Honor,
Go
Rachel
ahead.
Dornbush, Pellets Law, on behalf of the plaintiff. Your Honor, there's rent to retain of $3,280.27, cost of $189, for a total due of $3,469.27. We'd ask for a default possession only judgment with writ to issue after 10 days.
Judgment to the plaintiff by default for possession, redemption amount, any amount requested, writ issue 10 days. Sile Farms versus Carol Chenault and Michael Kelly. Chenault Kelly, no response. You paid for service. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. There's rent to retain of $2,812.26, cost of $228, for a total due of $3,040.26. We'd ask for a default possession only judgment with writ to issue after 10 days.
Judgment to the plaintiff by default for possession, redemption amount, any amount requested, writ issue 10 days. Sile Farms versus Amy Fields. Amy Fields, no response. You paid for second service. You may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Rent to retain $1,886.38. Costs are $189 for a total due of $2,075.38. We'd ask for a default possession only judgment with writ to issue after 10 days.
Judgment to the plaintiff by default for possession, redemption amount, any amount requested, writ issue 10 days.